What is up, NCK fam? It's your girl now, back again with another video. And today my background kind of looks a little different. That's because I'm in my room. I'm actually self-quarantining. I just came from a protest today, and so because I was with a big group of people and corona is still a thing, I decided to just self-quarantine. So that's why Mama now is not holding the camera, but I'm holding the camera. And so this goes exactly what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. So in light of recent events, many people are finding ways to rally and be vocally and actively anti-racist, right? And that is really important if we want to see effective change in our nation, right? And so in this video, I just wanted to give some practical there's a glare, some practical tips of what you can do in this time to be an active ally and to actively be anti-racist, because it's not enough just to be not racist. You have to be vocally and actively anti-racist. So this video is called What's Next, and I wanted to give some helpful tips of what you can do in this time as we move on in our revolution, right? And so I guess my first tip to be vocally anti-racist would be to join a protest, right? Like I did today, like many are doing. March and walk and shout and hold up your signs saying Black Lives Matter, saying say their names and all those other things that are wonderful and great. And that is a wonderful way you can be actively anti-racist, by using your voice and using just your community to rally and be active during this time. And so if you're going out to protest, remember to wear a mask, right? We're still in an era of pandemic, and it's important to stay safe and healthy during this time. I know it's really hard to social distance at a protest where there's thousands of people, right? But just the simple act of wearing a mask goes a long way. I want you to prepare. If you're planning on going to jail or getting arrested, prepare in advance, whether that's contacting a lawyer, having money set aside, whatever have you. I would suggest wearing goggles or something like that if tear gas was supposedly sprayed or something like that. And if you don't have access to goggles, I would suggest having a towel drenched in milk or white vinegar to help if you are ever tear gassed. Lastly, turn off your mobile data, turn off your locations so that the police will not be able to track you, okay? But stay safe while you are protesting, because it can get really crazy out there, but remember why you're doing it. I would also suggest using social media as a platform to protest, right? Not everybody can go outside to walk due to various possibilities of reasons. Some might be they cannot leave their family members at this time, they have a physical ailment or anything like that. But use your social medias as platforms, right? We just have Blackout Tuesday, right? There's many posts circling around the internet that you can just share to your page, right? To vocally be anti-racist. Use your platforms, right? Use them as a way to speak to your audience as being actively anti-racist, because believe it or not, we all have platforms. It might not be here on YouTube, but we have platforms on our Instagrams and our Facebook and our Snapchats and our Twitters and our Pinterest and whatever have you. Like, we all have platforms where we can be actively anti-racist, right? So use those as a way to protest. The second way you can be proactive during this time would be to get educated. So here on my laptop, I have some list of some books you can be reading, some films you can be watching, and some podcasts that you can listen to. So I want to list at least 5 books, 5 movies, and 5 podcasts that you can listen to. So so that you are educating yourself and also educating your friends and your family members during this time. So let's begin. For books, I suggest reading The New Jim Crow, Mass Incarceration in the Age of Colorblindness. White Fragility, Why is it so hard for white people to talk about race? So you want to talk about race? The Color Purple. And for some kid books, I would suggest Something Happened in Our Own Town, A Child's Story on Racial Injustice, and We're Different, We're the Same. And it's not too late to start talking to your kids about racism, because trust me, whether or not you believe it, that they see it, right? And they're paying attention and noticing what's going on. So it's not too early, it's not too late to talk about racism. Let's remember that Tamir Rice, he was shot and killed at 12, so it's literally not too late. No child is ever too young to learn about racism and its deadly effects, right? And so for some films, I have 13th, Fruitville Station, Stranger Fruit, The Hate U Give, Selma, and Our Friend Martin. Growing up, we all watched Our Friend Martin, and I don't know, it's just like some nostalgia that's with it, but it's a great film for kids to see in order to see what happened during the Civil Rights Movement and how some of well, really all of what has happened during the Civil Rights Movement is still continuing today. So that's a great movie for them to watch. And lastly, for podcasts, we have 1619, which is the year that slavery first began. We have NPR's Code Switch, Yo, This is Racist, We Live Here, The Diversity Gap. So podcasts are great because you can listen to them while you're either on a run, with your mask on, of course, or even inside on a treadmill. Podcasts are great that you can listen in the car. It's just a great way, especially if you're an audio learner. You can hear it that way. So those are some podcasts that you can listen to. Lastly, most importantly, one way that you can be proactive during this time is to donate, right? To help those protesters who are being jailed, to help these GoFundMe pages for the families of the grieving, to help pay for funerals, just to donate to the cause, man. Like, if you are blessed with wealth, why not use it to empower and to help be a benefit to others during this time, right? So I'm going to list a list of organizations that you can donate to. So we have Justice for Breonna Taylor, the Tony McDade Memorial Fund. And if you don't know about that story, Tony was a Black trans person who was killed by police. The Bail Project, Mutual Aid, NAACP Legal Defense, and Education Fund. So those are some ways that you can give back during this time. And I know you might be saying, well, now I don't have any money, but I want to be effective during this time. Well, I got you. You can donate without having money, and here's how it works. So there's going to be a list of links that I'm going to put in the description box. Obviously, I didn't list every movie, every film, every podcast, and so I have those linked in the description box as well. I'm sure not even that list will be as extensive as it needs to be, but there'll be more options for you to read, watch, and listen. But for the donations, here's what you can do. So there's going to be links provided in the description where you can go and you can click on the YouTube link, and it will show you to a playlist or something like that, and you can press play, and while the YouTube video is running, there are multiple ads being played during that duration of the YouTube video, and the money generated from those ads will go to projects to help in whatever ways that can help with Black Lives Matter. So I'm going to leave those links in the description box for you. But there are some important things that I need to mention about these videos. There are some rules that needs to be followed, and I'm just going to read them off my screen. And of course, this will be listed in the links that I provide as well. So do not watch as repetition, as it will be seen as spam. Do not watch as a playlist. Do not fast forward or skip anything. Obviously, the point of these videos is for you to have the ads play out. And you know what? You can even just put the videos on in a room if you don't want to watch it or listen to it, and just have the video play and have it generate the money for the ads, right? Do not change playback speed, and if you have YouTube Prime, turn it off. Okay, so that's all I have for you today in this video. Here I gave some practical ways where you can be proactive during this time, during this revolution and this rebellion, right? There is no excuse for silence. There is no excuse for you to sit home comfortably while Black people are suffering, right? There is no excuse for you to be silent and for you to stand still during these perpetual cycles of injustice. There's no reason, right? So be proactive during this time. Do something. I always see this kind of quotes around that's going around, and it says, when your grandchildren ask you what you did in 2020, what will be your response, right? Would you say that I protested? And I know many people can't protest, whether because of physical disabilities or what have you, but can you say in this time that you educated yourself? Can you say in this time that you challenge your family members to think bigger and to diversify what they've been taught, right? Because we know that racism is taught, it's not innate. So can you say that you challenge yourself, challenge what you have been taught, and challenge the thinking of others? Can you say that in this time you donated to the cause? What will you say when you are asked, what did you do in 2020? What did you do to stand up for Black lives, right? And so I encourage you to do something, right? Doing nothing is not an excuse, right? It's not an excuse. So that's all I have for you today in this video. At the end of this video, I'm going to leave a short clip of some of the names of the people who have been brutally killed due to police violence. Of course, it's not an extensive list, but it is a wonderful video as a reminder of what we are fighting for. Yes, the tragic killing of George Floyd really kind of set the world on fire. But let's remember that it's kind of bigger than that, right? It's systematic racism. It's the history, right? And it's these stories that what we're fighting for. We're fighting for all the lives brutally killed. We're fighting for the future lives that we want to see saved. So there's a list of names, and I will see you in the next video. Remember, do something, right? Okay, bye.
It was Freddie, Sam, Corey, Eric, Philando, Ahmad, Steven, Kenneth, Amadou, Jonathan, Christian, Terrace, Sean. Killed him a day before his wedding. Jamal killed him while he was in handcuffs. Mike killed him while he had his hands up. Kamani, Ramali, Phillip, Alton. About 3 Kevins, about 2 Jordans. John, Laquan, Bathon, Stephon, Tony, Tamir, Elijah, Antoine, Ezell, Terrell, Dauntre, Akai, George. For him, set the country on fire. Timothy, Patrick, Paul, Tyree, Quintonio, Darius, Jeremy, William, Anthony, Dante, Oscar, Kendrick, Keith, David, Walter. Women like Sandra, Betty, Rihanna, India, Michelle, Tatiana, Tanisha, Rika, Natasha, Pamela, Janet, Megan, Baby Ayan. All that we lost, your name live on. Wasn't killed by a cop, but I can't forget Trayvon. Can't forget Emmett, and all of those we lost to the beast. No justice, no peace.